All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is welcome to the All Sports All Plays Network. This is another episode of Real Talk. Well, look at here. Look who finally decided to go to set. What's up, Chris Brown?
Man, what's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back. As you know, I was in Tampa all last week, but I'm here now, ready to talk about sports, ready to get after it.
Well, Chris, I didn't like how you attacked me on your
Freddie. You know I don't care what you don't like. Okay, so we can skip all that and let's introduce the guys. Man, I'm not trying to hear your spiel. I don't care how you feel.
Man, you better be glad we got a special guest on the show today. If not, I will put you in your place. And then we have the one and only Jay Nance. What's up with it, Jay?
Man, I'm glad to be here. My first episode with the crew. Chris Brown back fresh from Tampa. I'm ready to hear his stories and whatnot. And we got a special guest. It's a big show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up with it, Ray? Welcome back to another episode. You guys see him behind him, the ASAP Real Talk. What's up with it, Rick, Ray?
I'm ready to get this show on the road. Let's get this thing fired up. Let's get some battle going here.
Hey, man, we have a special guest. We have the guy that was there, that was in Tampa, that was covering the team all year. We had him on before, Mr. Darren Smith with the Kansas City Chiefs. What's going on, Darren?
Not much. Thank you so much, Freddie and gentlemen, for having me on. Once again, I appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just glad to have you on. And hey, you know how we're gonna do. We're gonna ask you a few questions. Not gonna keep you on here too long.
You're fine. You're fine. Hey, look, the season's over with, so I got all night.
All right, I got you. All right, Chris. Since you was in Tampa, we thought you would get the first question of the night.
First question. Okay, my question. Ironically, it's not even about the Super Bowl. It's about what's next. What do you think is the next move for Kansas City? To attack in the offseason or maybe in the draft?
Honestly, left tackle, right tackle, left tackle, right tackle. If I'm Brett Veach, only thing I'm thinking about this offseason is max protection for Patrick Mahomes and being able to make sure that I can run the football on next season. That's me. Now that's me. If I'm the GM, I'm looking at getting some linemen because one, you suffer too many injuries and players who decided to opt out this year that at the end of the day, it came at the wrong time, at the worst possible time as well. So for that, the team was exposed for its biggest deficiencies. And if I'm Brett Veach, that's what I'm attacking in the offseason.
Do you feel the same way about the defensive line? Do you think they need to add some more pass rushers on that side of the ball?
Yes. I know throughout the season, Steve Spagnuolo said that his defense wasn't about getting sacks, but for me, if you're at least trying to get sacks, that means you're trying to get pressure on the quarterback. Yes. And I push back on that because last season, 2 seasons ago since the season just completed, Chris Jones had 15 sacks. This year he had 7.5 sacks. That's a big drop off in not only production but efficiency as well. So that means that you wasn't getting after the quarterback as much. Granted, they had the best record in the league, so it's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. But at the end of the day, yes, to answer your question, yes, they should also look at adding someone on the defensive line as well.
Okay.
Darren, we know the offensive line did not hold up in the Super Bowl. Okay,
You're right
but
about that.
how much blame, if any, does Andy Reid have for not making an adjustment, especially coming back that second half, knowing what the protection that was not there for Patrick Mahomes? How much blame go towards him?
Oh, a lot. I mean, all of it. I mean, you're the head coach. I'm someone who strongly believes is to whom much is given, much is required, and you know, you didn't. Now, this is my opinion. You didn't, in my opinion, you didn't have the team as prepared as what should have been prepared going into the biggest game. And people like to talk about the distraction of what happened with Brett Reed, but the thing is, if that was that much of a distraction to you as a head coach and as a father, you should recuse yourself and give the play calling duties to Eric Bieniemy or Steve Spagnuolo, one or the other, or Dave Tobe, since he's your assistant head coach. So for me, I don't. I don't go by the excuse business. They got their ass kicked. They got it handed to them, and Andy Reid is to if we're gonna give him the credit, we have to also give him the blame as well.
Cool. I guess this is just a little, humor side of it. How much of it blame was it for Patrick Mahomes? I'm a young kid. I got to get my haircut every week. I know he wasn't able to get that lined up. Was that kind of the reason why he was kind of off balance, or was it more that line? Or do you think he could have done more? Even with the flaws of that offensive line.
Well, obviously, he could have done more. Everybody could have done more. But here's the thing. Patrick can't catch the passes that he throws. Tyreek Hill in the end zone, Darrell Williams in the end zone, Travis Kelce missing, dropping passes that he would normally catch. If they make those plays, we could be having a different conversation all around. There's really nothing that he could do, and of course, with the missing linemen or the pressure that they were getting on Patrick throughout the game, it's something that again, Patrick can only do so much, and he can. He will say that there are passes that he could have and should have made, and that's probably true, but more often than not, the receivers drop the passes that they should have caught. Like, McCole Hardman, he was wide open and didn't get up underneath it. So you see, I look. There's a lot I can talk about as it relates to that game, but the Chiefs shot themselves in the foot all the way around.
All right, cool. Jay.
So you kind of hit on it within Chris Brown's question. So I'm going to take it to 2.0 on it.
Sure.
They're projected to be about $19 million over the cap without the adjustments. So I'm looking at it. Eric Fisher coming off an Achilles tear. He's entering his final season. Mitchell Schwartz off of a major injury entering his final season. We've hit both of those tackle situations already. But we also got Tyrann Mathieu, which if they cut, they could save $14 million. Do you see any of those three being let go, moved around, or anything?
I don't think because of injury you can let either of them go, either Eric Fisher or Mitchell Schwartz go, because they were on the injury reserve and stuff like that. So I don't know if you can cut them. I'm not familiar with the CBA as it relates to cutting players who are injured, because that. But you can always extend their contract, and that way you can spread out their money. So in that case, that could happen. But that could also happen with Tyrann Mathieu. It could be, because I know he's on a 3-year deal. I think this is the last year of Frank Clark's guaranteed money of his 5-year deal. So, again, I'm not the GM. If I was, I'd be trying to finagle some of that. But I think with Tyrann Mathieu, I'm pretty sure that they're going to try to re-sign him or give him an extension, because again, with the salary cap projected to be, I guess, maybe between 180 and maybe 185 million, and where the team might lie as it relates to that, I can see them, give them the players extensions so they can lower, so they can have their money spread out. And then at the end of the day, Patrick is always willing to go. Which you don't want that to always be the case, but Patrick is always willing to go back to the negotiating table to, help the team out. If he feels like, hey, we need this player, he'll go back and do what he needs to do to lower his impact on the cap as well.
Yeah, because looking at the draft, those are two major needs, those tackle positions. We've seen it. And, even, getting some extra blocking maybe in the tight end position to help out, Kelsey chipping or something. But I don't see a lot of space availability in the free agency. So I'm trying to see where they can really get improvements there on that line.
Well, look, I said this on my show earlier this week that if I'm Kansas City, I'm looking at Clemson, I'm looking at Alabama, I'm looking at Ohio State. I'm looking at those three schools and see, because there's not going to be 30 offensive linemen taken before you get there. So I'm looking to see which one of those teams has a left or right tackle that's going to be in that draft that I could possibly get. And here's the thing. The Chiefs and their scouting department, they've hit on a lot more than they've missed. So I don't have a problem if the team goes second, third round looking for a lineman, even if it's not the first one, because I'm of the belief that, push come to shove, I'd trade that 31st pick to Baltimore and get Orlando Brown. Get someone who wants to play left tackle. That way you bring him in. You don't have to rush Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher can just sit back. Now, granted, he will be entering into his last year of his rookie deal, but you'd have his rights and because he wants to play left tackle. He was playing right tackle, moved over to left tackle. He wants to play left tackle. That's Patrick Mahomes' blind side. I would get him. He's 25 years old. He and Patrick, they can play the rest of their career together, more or less. And then you have Lucas Niang, who opted out last year, who should be coming back. I think he's going to play right guard or right tackle. Now, hopefully, as I've talked about, hopefully he's maintained, his skills, or he's gotten his skills better during this year off. So we'll have to see about that when he comes back. I don't want to thrust him in the starting lineup without seeing what he looks like this time around. But if I'm Kansas City, look, I'm looking at least out of the 7 rounds, at least 3 of those rounds, I'm getting offensive linemen.
Right,
that's just me, and that would be if I can trade that pick to get Orlando Brown. And then look, we have to also see how free agency rolls and where the cap stuff is and what. Look, you got to remember Brett Veach last year with $177 in the salary cap got 3 players contract extensions worth almost $700 million. So if anybody can do it, Brett Veach can.
Cool. Yo, Ray, do you have any questions for Darren?
Yeah. During the Super Bowl, why didn't Andy Reid make some adjustments in the second half to where they could start chipping, because they were getting blown off the line for the 2 defensive ends? Nobody chipped on that stuff. Instead of sending Kelsey out all the time, he could have bumped him off then to release him. And plus, why didn't he go with their short passes on the 2 deep safeties?
First of all, hopefully we're not on the radio, but shit, that's a good ass question, because I don't know, because I was sitting in the stands looking like, bro, you're not making any adjustments. And that's what I said really coming out of the game that really, really just had me on fire. I had people, because I posted on social media on Facebook about, the Chiefs getting their behinds kicked, and everybody's upset at me about, oh, you're not a fan. I'm like, you're right, I'm not a fan. I cover the team. And, to be quite honest, I don't know, because like I said, he didn't have them prepared coming into the ball game, and he didn't make any adjustments in the first half. He didn't make any adjustments during the 40 minutes of halftime, while the weekend and everybody else was doing their thing. And then in the second half, he didn't make any adjustments. So again, I don't know how to really answer that question, because I don't have the answer, because Tampa Bay, they played their deep cover 2 the entire night, and because you didn't try to run them out of it, they stayed there. They feel like, if you're not going to make any adjustments, why are we going to make any adjustments? And what we're doing is working, because we're up 28-9 or 28-6 at the time or whatever. So, again, to me, they I don't have an answer for that one, because there's no reason why he didn't make any adjustments. He just didn't, and maybe it's because of arrogance. Look, I was thinking to myself, okay, if they go into the half 14-6, they get the ball back, they'll go and make some other adjustments or whatever, and then Patrick will come back and, okay, boom, whatever. Well, then Andy calls a timeout with 3 minutes and 3rd and 2 with 44 seconds left to go in the half. And it's like, dude, why did you call that timeout? They end up throwing the ball, getting a penalty in the end zone. Now it's 1st and goal. They end up getting a touchdown. So now instead of it being 14-6, it's 21-6. Well, I've seen Patrick come down from 24 points, but still, this is the Super Bowl. I've always said throughout this year that the team didn't have the defense this time around to be down that many points and think they're going to come back and win. Patrick or no Patrick, it just wasn't happening. And then the fact that, again, they ran the ball well when they did, or at least with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but they didn't stick with it. The first, Patrick's 34 yards that he had running, or at least gained positive yards, all came in the first quarter, continuing the drive and stuff. But like you said, the short passes, they were right on top of it. They didn't have a chance to, the receivers didn't have enough spacing because, again, they were getting pressure with their front four. If you can get pressure with your front four, well, now you can drop 7 back and double team, Travis and the other receivers to where, I mean, there's nothing that really they could do. And then, of course, when you're dropping passes, that just stalls the offense as well.
Yep.
Yep. That's crazy. So, there was a narrative going into the week, to the Super Bowl, that, Patrick Mahomes is coming there to let everybody know that he can take over the GOAT conversation from Tom Brady. With this lost, I mean, are you even a believer in this, that, even if Mahomes would have won, could he take the GOAT conversation away from Brady? Or now that he lost to him, do you think he can still catch back up to him to claim a GOAT position against Tom Brady?
Well, I wasn't never in on the GOAT conversation anyway, because it was only his third full year as a starter. I'm of the belief, let the man's career play out and let the chips fall where they may. But in this business or social media, everybody wants to be the first. Everybody wants to, have the loudest praise. I said his first pass in the NFL, he was going to be the greatest of all time. I mean, we don't know that. I mean, I didn't like the whole dynasty talk in the offseason where Tyreek talked about winning 5 championships, and I think Chris Jones talked about winning 7. I'm just like, you do realize these teams aren't just going to just let you just win a Super Bowl, right? You've got to go out and do it. And then so for me, all the talking that they were doing throughout the year, I don't have a problem with the running back. I didn't mind the thing because that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to defend your title. So to that point, I don't have a problem with that. But the dynasty talk and people, all the time, oh, Patrick is the greatest quarterback ever. And I'm like, dude, like, come on, man, get a few titles underneath your belt. Cause right now his career path is the same as Russell Wilson right now. They both been to 2 Super Bowls back to back, one lost one, boom, it is what it is. So he has a better trajectory right now than Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees because they haven't gone back since they won there. So I'm with them on that. But, even if they go back and win next year, even if they go back to Super Bowl next year, like 4 years in a row, it's looking more so like LeBron James and the Miami and the Miami Heat where, they should have gone to the Super Bowl his first full year, but, offsides penalty and then Brady getting the ball in overtime. They marching down the field. The Chiefs couldn't stop them. Should have went that year, should have had a rematch against the Rams. Didn't happen. They won it last year. They got back to the game, to the Super Bowl, but they laid an egg. I mean, I'm not in the excuse making business. They got beat and they deserve to get beat based off the way they played and based off the way they came into the ball game. Now I know right now they're the favorites of Vegas to go to Los Angeles and win it. Perhaps they will, perhaps they won't. I'm a big proponent of it's all a matter of whether or not they can stay healthy. Last year going into Miami, all of their players were healthy going into that Super Bowl. This year, again, you were without Eric Fisher, you were without Willie Gay, you were without Mitchell Schwartz. That made a big difference. But again, you didn't make any adjustments, so we don't know how the game would have or should have turned out. Again, if your wide receivers can't catch the passes all of a sudden, there's nothing you can do about it.
All right, Chris, you have any more questions?
Yeah. What do you think the future is for Eric Bieniemy?
Well, next year he'll be with the Kansas City Chiefs. That much I know. I don't have a good answer for that because it seems as though the owners move the goalposts every year. The last 3 years he should have gotten a job. He should have been in contention. But for one reason or another, I had my guy Jared Bell from USA Today on the show last week, and he believes that some owners are still holding whatever, it was against them back at the University of Colorado. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer because he should be a head coach right now. I just don't know.
I agree with looking at some of these hires and looking at his resume. I get lost for words every time I look at it.
Yeah, one of the things that I had asked the commissioner during his press conference, which again I was shocked. I got a question in first and foremost, but I asked him whether or not they should move the hiring process or the interview process to after the Super Bowl, so that way all the coaches on a level playing field, black and white or whatever. Because if you look at the coaches that are hired, as you mentioned, I mean, these coaches, their resumes don't stack up. Outside of Urban Meyer, they're and no offense to Robert Saleh because he was in the Super Bowl last year, but these other coaches, their resumes don't stack up to Todd Bowles or Byron Leftwich or Eric Bieniemy, or Steve Spagnuolo for that. So, so that's a problem within itself.
Yeah, I definitely think Leftwich should be a coach here soon. I definitely do. I think he's going over that hill. I think Todd is gonna have another couple years at a coordinator position before he gets back into that role again.
Yeah, who's that, Bowles or someone else?
Yeah.
The rumor was that if they won, Bruce Arians would step down and Todd Bowles would be the next man up. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It may or may not. I don't know. But that being the case, look, I do like that. But here's the thing, man. You cannot change what's in what's in the owner's heart. So, and the other thing is, you can't tell a man who spent $1, $2, $3 billion who to hire. So, as much as as much as we want Eric Bieniemy to get a job, we can't force the owners to hire him. So that's the flip side of that as well.
Hey, Darren, I was just going to touch you on that. Would you say that you had the opportunity to ask the question to Roger Goodell? And I've seen that you called them out, but you might can't call them out, but we can hear the ASAP because that's one thing that we strive on, to keep it real. Hey, ESPN, this man asked a question. He brought it up. He brought the attention to that question up first. So I know you probably can't say that, but I can.
I call everybody out. Anybody can get it. So I don't care who it is. I call them out. That's why I posted on my page. Like, I asked a question and look at here. Get Up talks about Coach. It is what it is, man. I'm used to it by now.
Yep. Gentlemen, you guys have any other questions about the Chiefs, Will? For him?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, not right now.
That's all the questions I had.
Darren, are you hopping off? Are you sticking with us, or is it totally up to you?
I got a few more minutes, so I'm good.
So, I mean, looking just the Super Bowl game itself, that wide receiving core did not look intact like they usually do. And
about the Chiefs or the Bucks?
The Chiefs.
Yeah.
To me, what I saw was what has been kind of viewing them on an eye, level. If you figure out a way to stop Kelsey at all, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs to win. And we saw that, and drop passes, things like that. Sammy Watkins is about to become a free agent. I mean, put that wide receiver core.
Well, let me say this. Well, here's the beauty of what they did in Tampa. They said throughout the week that they wanted to hit the Chiefs in the mouth, and they wanted to see how they react. Well, that's exactly what they did. So when if you go about, or if you try to find, a blueprint of what you can do, that's what you did. And look, one of the things that I mentioned, that if I'm Todd Bowles, if I wanted, now Travis Kelce technically wasn't shut down because he had like 10 catches for I think $100 some yards, but I mean it didn't mean much in the bigger scheme of things. So, but what they did is, if I were them, which they may or may not have done because they didn't have to. Initially going into the game, I'm like, go back and see what New England did against them in the AFC Championship game in 2018. They shut down Tyreek and they shut down Travis Kelce. So the ones who had the big game was Damian Williams and Sammy Watkins. They had the big games because those two were shut down. This time around, I mean, they just beat them up. I mean, basically they beat them up at the line of scrimmage, but they were able to, again, because they were able to get pressure with Patrick with just 3 or 4 players. They had enough players to drop back and to double cover everyone. So if you thought Tyreek was going to be able to get the ball, well, he had 2 players on him. You know, he had a corner and a single high safety on him. So there was really nothing he could do. He tried to get it underneath to Kelsey. Well, you know, Patrick would throw the ball low, sometimes throw the ball up, and it would get tipped. And then, of course, he had the interception. I think he had 2 interceptions in that ball game. And then, of course, with all the pressure that he was under, he ran for almost 500 yards before he got the ball off. And then, you know, as you saw, I mean, here's Patrick, you know, jumping at 90-degree angles, horizontal, trying to throw the ball and still hitting the receiver. Mind you, now he's in midair throwing the ball like this, you know what I'm saying? And the ball is going and it hits the receiver in the hands, through his hands, and it hits him in the helmet, and he drops it. So, I mean, again, Patrick can only do what he can do. He's a great player, he's a great quarterback, but he's not the Messiah.
Right. All right, we actually got a few questions in the comment section.
Okay.
Brandon Herrera says, how different is it playing with little to no fans than a packed house?
You know what? Brandon brought up a good point. I talked about that earlier today on my show. That game, and I don't know, Chris, whether or not you were in the stadium, but that game alone was truly a home game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm talking about not just you know, the fact that they're playing at home because it's Tampa or whatever, but during the timeouts and things like that, and you know, going to commercial, everything was Tampa. I mean, the announcer, just the cheerleader, just everything that they had going on, the whole you know, just the whole aesthetics was all Tampa Bay. And so, you know, I mean, they had a lot of fans there, of course, and the essential workers, most of them came from the Tampa area. Granted, they were from all over the NFL, but most of them, just for logistic purposes, were out of Tampa. And then, of course, you know, you had the cutouts, which obviously the cutouts can't say anything. But I mean, so it gives the appearance of a full house. A lot. It was loud down there too. But again, the Chiefs didn't help themselves. Again, if the Chiefs are running the ball, having an effective drive, or they're scoring, then you know you take the fan base out of it. I do believe that if the Super Bowl could have had a full stadium, 75,000 or whatever, I think you would have had a number of Chiefs fans there. I think that would have been able to maybe offset a lot of things because, you know, Chiefs fans, they would have been loud and rowdy throughout the game, and that might have helped. But I will say that having fans at a game is key to a team's success because, you know, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes is trying to drive or whatever, or if the defense is trying to get after Tom Brady, if you got at least 35,000 Chiefs fans there versus 5,000, I think that makes a big difference when it relates to the noise and stuff that might be able to get after Tom Brady and the defender. So, yeah, having fans at a stadium is a big difference.
All right. So I guess I have one more question. You know, you guys brought in Le'Veon Bell this year. You know, is the Chiefs planning on bringing him back, or maybe letting him go?
So.
Or
I don't think so, unless for whatever reason, Damian Williams does not come back. But I highly doubt it because it didn't look like he fit within the Chiefs' scheme. He was a healthy scratch. He didn't play in the game Sunday, and you know, all week he talked about how healthy he was going into the ball game, and the fact that he didn't play, you know, leaves a lot to be desired and a lot of questions to be answered. So I don't think we'll see him back in a Chiefs uniform next year.
All right, and Tim asks, how long can the Chiefs keep the core together with Mahomes' contract?
Well, it depends on who you consider the core. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they got their own contract extension, so they're fine. Obviously, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on a rookie deal, so he's here for the next 4 years, 4 years. McCall Hardman, he's still under a rookie deal for another two seasons. Defensively, you're setting pretty good. It basically a matter of if the Chiefs want to have someone like Demarcus Robinson or Sammy Watkins back. I doubt it, you know, but I mean, I'm not Brett Veach. If there are players that that they feel like they need. Like Patrick knows he needs he needs linemen, and so depending on how that looks, the will be key. But the beauty is with Patrick's contract. Patrick has the most friendliest $500 million contract in NFL history because, granted, it doesn't kick in this season; it kicks in the following season. So because his 5th-year option was picked up, so Patrick is playing. He's still playing under his rookie deal, so his contract won't go into effect until the following season. And then, but what'll have to happen is, I think by the 3rd day of this NFL season, when it comes place, his contract for next year will be guaranteed. So his contract will be guaranteed 1 year in advance. But what Patrick can do, Patrick can always go back to the table. He's the only one that's not going anywhere. So he can always go back to the table, stretch it out, get more money, negotiate or whatever, and have his money spread out further. If it, or he can. Here's one thing: Patrick's not hurting for money. Patrick has learned from Tom Brady. Tom Brady took less money. Why? Because he wanted to win. He wanted to get pieces in place. Patrick knows that's the key. He can get $500 million, but also he can always give money back because he may not need them. And plus, he's part owner of the Kansas City Royals. He's got money off the field or whatever. So that kind of balances itself out. So he's going to be okay. Again, like he said, he left money for Chris Jones, and like Chris Jones says, bro, how you take $500 million and you leave me money? So again, if it's something that Patrick wants, he's going to be able to get, because that's just how they figured. That's just how Brett Veach and them have been able to do well by with the salary cap. You call it circumvision, whatever you want, but it works. Funny math is what I call it.
Well, I got two last questions. So I'm going to ask you both at the same time.
Okay.
A busy man like you, now the football season over, are you going to traveling? Well, I know because of COVID, it's not too much you can do. But what does a busy man like you do right now in the off season? And the second question, get off football. I know you follow the NBA a little bit. What team are you riding with to win the championship?
To answer the first question first, there is no off season for me. I go from covering the Chiefs to while I'm covering the Chiefs, I cover KU basketball. So they had a game tonight, so I cover KU basketball. I also cover the Royals when I won't worry about spring training, but when the season starts in March and April, I'll go out and cover them. And so, I mean, I'm always covering something dealing with sports, and then we don't have an NBA team, but I do talk NBA all the time as well. So to answer your second question, at the moment, I think I have the Lakers winning the championship again. I got them going back and repeating.
You're a smart man. That's what I like you. You're a smart man.
My mama ain't raised no fool, so.
Yeah, sir. I'm pretty sure LeBron is your MVP too, right?
No, actually, I think I might have had Kevin Durant just because of him coming back from injury and the expectations. So when the season started, I know I didn't have Giannis, but I think I might have Kevin Durant. Then I think I might have had LeBron James just based off of expectations if he played a full year, and perhaps I think Steph Curry. I think I might have had. So those are my top three.
I got you. Can't argue with that. All great in their own ways. Gentlemen, Chris, Ray, Jay, do you guys have any other questions for Darren?
Oh no, I'm good. Thank you for your time, Darren.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Hey, Darren. Hey, man, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. They're killing me because I had to ask you about the basketball show because I'm the Laker fan. I'm the Laker fan of the set, and. Yeah.
If anybody else would have said the answer, Freddie, you'd have lost your mind. Let's just call a spade a spade.
All right, Dan, you have a good night.
Take care. Thank you so very much once again for having me.
Yes, sir. That's it. While he's logging off, you guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Sports and All Plays Network. My name is Freddie Henderson. I'm the CEO of the network, and I just want to let you know how thankful we are as a network to have each and one of you viewers watch our shows daily. It means a lot to us, and trust me, we do not take it for granted. We just want to say thank you. We want to thank you for following our page, liking our page. We want to thank you for watching our shows, commenting on our shows, liking our shows, and we want to show you the love. So every month we'll have a viewer of the month. Whoever watches our shows the most, comment on our shows the most, like our shows the most, will win a free ASAP T-shirt. Yes, I said free. But guess what? But if you still want to have the T-shirt, but you're not able to watch live all the time due to your personal life, maybe you catch us in the morning on your morning jog or whatever. You're still able to get a T-shirt. All you have to do is pay $14.99 plus shipping and handling, and we will send you a free your own very own ASAP T-shirt. Like I said, my name is Freddie Henderson. Thank you for each and one of your support. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your show.
Man, I must say that was a good looking dude. You know, the edge of it straight, that voice sounded just straight. Whoa, that's a good looking dude. I wonder who that dude is. I'm pretty sure you guys can agree on that. But gentlemen, let's get to it. This is real talk. Chris, man, you know, I kind of hate to say it, but I kind of miss you on the set. You know, I kind of miss you. But, you know, like I was saying earlier, I talked about your quarterback. I talked about your point guard. I talked about Aaron Rodgers, where you going. I did all that what you told me not to do.
Crazy thing is, you talk about my quarterback, but you flip-flop teams. You don't know who your quarterback is.
Oh, I know who my quarterback is.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers. That's
wait till Monday. Wait till next real talk when I post that highlight reel of you saying you a Giants fan at the beginning of the year, that you a Rodgers fan, you a Packers fan. Are you back? Wait till I post that. Come on, flip-flop. Nobody respects. Because I was trying to spare you, but nobody respects a bandwagon. Nobody respects a bandwagon.
Wow.
Nobody respects a bandwagon.
What happened to Daniel Jones?
I'm still with Daniel Jones.
Huh?
2 left foot. Tackle his own self when running 90 yards. Wide open.
All right. Well, we're not going to talk about that. Let's go ahead and get into our topics. Our first topic for today is the NFL free agency hot take. Something that crazy that you guys think is going to happen in the free agency that we don't even expect is going to happen. Jay, we'll start with you.
Man, it's crazy too, because looking at this free agency list, especially after the Super Bowl, kind of changes it around a little bit for me. I don't see a lot happening in the quarterback thing. So my free agency hot take is actually going to have to be down here with these linemen. And I really think somehow Kansas City's going to try to get either Brandon Scherff or Trent Williams out there to sew up that line. I don't know how they're going to get it done. Like I said, I mean, like I was talking earlier, they have Eric Fisher and what's his name? Both coming off of major injuries, both going into final years of their contract, and the rest of the line didn't look good as well. And I don't see that many available linemen in the draft really to come in and make a major difference, Super Bowl caliber difference anyway. So I really think somehow, some way, they're going to go and get Brandon or Trent to come out there and sew up that line.
All right, Ray, give us a hot take.
My hot take is Alex Mack, the center from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about dropping him because of salary cap. There are some words down here in Jaguar land that he could be coming here to put Brandon Leonard at his natural guard position and AJ McCants out. That's the report right now that Urban Meyer wants him. He could shore up that line, move Brandon Leonard out of his unnatural position to his natural position at guard. That could shore up the Jaguars' offensive line and help Robertson out in the running game, and bringing in picking up hopefully Trevor Lawrence in the draft will solidify the quarterback position. So my hot take is Alex Mack leaving Atlanta, coming into the Jaguars.
All right, Chris Brown, give us a hot take.
Okay, my hot take is that this team that, it feels like they neglect, to add to their roster so they could win. Green Bay Packers. I'm looking at this all season. One thing I see a lot of good wide receivers, and I know they're over the cap. So what? Make it happen. My hot take is that, with Aaron Rodgers saying the comments he said, I know he wants to say, but he had the performance he had, listen, remember what happened with Brady? Remember what happened to Jimmy G? Remember what happened with that situation? They thought Jimmy G was the guy, but Brady said, I still have it. I see something like that happening. Rodgers saying, listen, I'm still here. I got an offensive line. I can still play for 5, 10 years. You see what Brady's doing. They said, okay, they smart up. You go ahead, get rid of Love, and you bring in one of these wide receivers. Not even the top guys, but you got guys, that's ranked in the 40, 50, we talking about best free agents that are still quality wide receivers. It's too many wide receivers in this free agency not to add at least one over there with Devontae Adams, over there with MVS. Like, you have decent wide receivers outside of Devontae, but you don't have a guy that you can really say, okay, he's my bona fide number 2. He's a guy I can count on outside of Devontae. Well, if I'm the Packers, say it again.
I say even a Sammy Watkins would be big.
Even he would be nice. And there's guys like Corey Davis. I mean, that's maybe not to the level of a Devontae Adams. If you want to go that high, I mean, you got Kenny Goddaway, you got, Chris Godwin, you got Antonio Brown. There's literally tons of wide receivers in this free agency. Allen Robinson. You want to go the big guys, the middle guys, what you want to do. But if I'm Green Bay, it's no way you leave this free agency without adding a wide receiver. If you consider yourself to be a top franchise, a franchise all about winning. I don't care if you're over the cap. You got a dead weight on your team, get rid of them. You got guys that had no business being on the team, get rid of them, and add some wide receiver help so that team could be back in the mix next year.
Chris, I don't know what happened, but maybe in Tampa you breathe in some kind of air and into your lungs or something, and you just stole what I was going to say. I was going to touch that as my hot take. But no need to do it because you finally coming to my side and realize I'm preaching the truth.
You don't never talk the truth. I'm never going to anything your side. That's just a fact that people have been saying for a while now. Now, Aaron Rodgers has had weapons in the past, but if you compare those past weapons to right now, he doesn't have a lot. I'm not. Oh, me and you? No, that's not it.
Hey, don't hurt. You just coming to the dark side, my brother.
First of all, I said it first. You agreeing with me, so you coming to my side. Let's get it right here. Let's get it right, because you could have changed it, but you said, oh, my God, this hot take is so good. I just want to hop on this bandwagon. Because me, if you'd have said that, I got so many other hot takes I could have went to. So you decided to join me. I didn't join you. I went first. You should go first next time, because I got different things written down, buddy.
All right. Well, I got another hot take then, because I'm just not one dimensional.
If I didn't say that, you'd have kept it rolling. You see how you feed off me, Freddie?
No.
If you were going to keep going until I said you should find a new one. I know you missed me, Freddie. I know you. That's okay.
My hot take is the Dak Prescott. He's being disrespected in the Dallas. Okay, Dallas is disrespecting the man. Okay, they don't want to pay him. Did you see they finally put him in a hype video because everybody called him out? By the way, Dallas is being disrespectful. They need to pay him. But guess what, Dak Prescott? If they don't want to pay you, there's a team that will pay you, and then the NFC East, the Washington football team. Go join the Washington football team. Join Ron Rivera. And go put on a whipping and go whip the Cowboys twice. How bad do you want to hurt Jerry Jones and say, you know what? I'm the quarterback that you should take care of. And guess what? I'm here. I'm in the same division, and I'm going to beat your Cowboys to go to the playoffs next year. So that's my hot take.
I would love to see him lose 2 times a year.
Anytime the Cowboys lose, it's a great feeling inside. All right, gentlemen. Let's move to the next topic. Russell Wilson came out and said, how he wished that, the Seattle Seahawks would give him more protection because, he's ranked number 1. That I think I saw a stat that he's got sacked 40 times in a season. He got that's like happened 8 times, okay? And that ranks number 1. That's a crazy stat, for a quarterback of Russell Wilson type of quarterback. And then they asked him or something, to the stage of, is he looking for a trade or they're accepting phone calls? And he said, I'm pretty sure they are taking phone calls about me, whatever. But if you are the Seattle Seahawks, are you trading? And this is a guy that we all said that was on the MVP race. He was leading the chart for the MVP race. Chris, if you was the GM for the Seahawks, are you trading Russell Wilson?
I'll tell you one thing. Something has to change in Seattle. But I can tell you the last thing will be Russell Wilson. He's your franchise guy. You don't look to trade him. He's the only reason why your team has been relevant, ever since he's been drafted there. Okay, Legion of Boom left. He kept them relevant. Without him, they should have been 6-10 so many years if it wasn't for Russell Wilson. Like, I don't think people understand. Everybody, talking about how Deshaun Watson is right now, but that was Russell Wilson for years. For years, Russell Wilson was dealing with a bad O-line, a franchise I feel like that didn't know what they were doing. And so when I look at it, it's like you don't look to trade Russell Wilson when the easier solution would be to give him what he's asking for. He's not asking for a ton of wide receivers. He's not asking for a ton of playmakers. He's asking for help. He's asking for you to find people that can block for him so he can stay upright and so he can win football games. We saw what happened with the Rams. That should be blatantly obvious that they need an offensive line. They couldn't even get an offensive rhythm because the offensive line was so bad it was getting destroyed. Something has to change in Seattle. And I'll tell you one thing, Pete Carroll needs to be on the hot seat because he keeps talking about running the ball. And I don't hear no talk about giving Russell Wilson offensive line help. Every single draft pick I have right now, Darren Smith talked about Kansas City needs to look second, third, fourth round for offensive line. No, that's what Seattle needs to do right now. They need to add an offensive line. And if Pete Carroll doesn't make a good playoff run, I'm talking about NFC Championship or better, he needs to go. He keeps talking about running the ball, but why wasn't it so important when you had 1 to 2 yard line, you had Marshawn in the backfield, and you decided to throw? Why is running the ball all important now? I'm not trying to hear that, Pete Carroll. The talk should be fixing the offensive line for Russell Wilson. Because if you trade him, you're done. Unless you're trading him and you're getting a Justin Fields, you're getting a Trevor Lawrence, you're done. You're done. So from Seattle, no, you're not trading Russell Wilson. You're going to figure out what you can do to help him out. Orlando Brown's available. Give up all your picks for him. Give up all your picks. One of the best tackles in the game. I don't care who the left tackle is right now. See you later. Pack your bags. Okay? They need help. So I'm looking free agency. Jay talks about some guards that's available. I'm hitting them up. Orlando Brown, he's available. I'm hitting up the Ravens. If you got to get rid of stuff because the first and the most important thing should be protecting Russell Wilson and giving him an offensive line, not accepting the calls, seeing what you can trade him for. That's a bad franchise right there.
Jay.
Man, I had to go switch up because I wanted to make sure y'all knew, Russell Wilson is the NFC West killer. It's not the teams, it's Russell, bro. And that's why, just like he was notioning, they should have been 6-10 a few years. They should have been they should have had 4-12 records a couple years.
Yeah.
But Russell actually came out and beat the NFC West. Not the Seattle Seahawks. They were struggling in games. And Russell in the fourth quarter would come out and come back, down 10 and win by 3. And last second field goal, getting in field goal range. So go ahead and trade Russell Wilson. Go ahead. They're gonna be the Chargers, you know what I'm saying? The NFC West Chargers. So, the thing about it is when we're looking at this, I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on this one, Chris, because you said Pete should be on the hot seat. I'm stuck because who did they really? They got Carson. And if you ask me, Carson leaves their team, he's nobody. He goes to another team and is not built for him to run the exact way he's built for it. I don't think he's the same running back. I don't think he is. I think that run game is designed because people are scared of Russell's feet. People are scared of the way the rollout, the bootlegs, the play actions. And then now they got DK Metcalf that really opens it up. But here's the other thing. Seattle, to me, are 3 years past their prime. And they held on to the same team for 3 years of that 3 year past your prime. So now they're set back, if you ask me, 5 years. Because they should have been getting rid of some of these older dudes, getting some of these newer dudes in there to actually have these reps. So when they hit this spot right here, it's not as bad as it is. The only bright spot they got is DK over the last couple of years.
Let me add to that. To me, they chose Russell Wilson over that dominant defense.
Correct.
That was the shift in the organization. Okay, we put our faith in Russ. So now you get rid of him? I'm sorry. If Tom Brady can play this long with a good offensive line, a lot of these top quarterbacks right now in the game can play just as long because they have better arm talent. So
that's what Russ wants. That's what Russ is seeing. Russ has seen Tom Brady.
Mhm.
Russ has seen Drew Brees.
Exactly. That's
Russ
the
has
blueprint.
seen these- and he's like, yo, you can't touch me like this. I ain't gonna be able to make it. I ain't gonna be able to make it to these guys' level. I ain't gonna be able to make it.
I think that's why he's talking more. We don't hear Russ talk, but what he's saying is, listen, I want to play for y'all, but if y'all don't protect me, I'm not going to have a future. So
Correct.
It's like you chose Russell Wilson. You can't get rid of him now. You're at the point where you have a good roster, but you have a great quarterback that can make that roster better. If you add an offensive line, the defense is questionable. The defense is very questionable. They got hit with a lot of injuries. If you add offensive line, I think they're beating the Rams in the playoffs. I think they can contend with the Packers and the Bucks. They're missing that offensive line right now, and that's what's going to kill them until they add to it.
All right, Ray. If you just general manager for the Seahawks, are you trading Russell Wilson?
Nope, I'm keeping him, and I'm getting him some offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been talking about he needs one more wide receiver to go on the other side of Metcalf and bring in Lockett back to his natural position, that slot.
Mm-hmm.
He could do a lot with the slot receiver as Lockett with his speed and stuff like that. He could counter off the offset of the offensive line because they missed that quick hitters. They missed that quick insiders.
Mm-hmm.
If they bring in like an Allen Robinson to bring on the other side, there you go. You got another quality wide receiver to go with Metcalf, and you got Lockett in the slot. So that opens up, and now alleviate some of these offensive linemen has to block so many times. Because if you look at most of their plays this year, Russell Wilson was looking to go deep. He had no inside. He had no 5-yard routes and stuff like that. So you're gonna get more sacks. So you got to adjust it a little bit. You need another wide receiver and Allen Robinson to come in and bring in the other side of Metcalf, and you bring in your slot receiver, which you can throw Lockett a 5-yard pass. He can turn that 5-yard pass into a 45 to a 50-yard or maybe to a touchdown. And that's the problem with that side. And also bring in some defensive players that show up that defensive ability to help them out on keeping teams out of the areas and stuff like that. But you talk about Russell Wilson. I have seen Russell Wilson play in college. He beat my team, North Carolina University, like a rag doll when he played for North Carolina State. I know what Russell Wilson can do, and Russell Wilson is a big time quarterback. If you let him go, y'all talking about Seattle's been set back 5 to 6 years. You let him go, they're about 10 to 15 years set back. Yeah. So you can't let a player like that go. You just need to bring in more weapons. And like he's been saying, that if you bring me an offensive line, you bring me another wide receiver to go on the outside and bring Lockett back to the inside, then you're going to see a different Seattle team. And that's going to be the big question. Will they do that?
And see, that's kind of what I was notioning at, is that they're 3 years behind, because Lockett started after that last Super Bowl appearance. Lockett started to lose a half a step. And I'm not necessarily speed, but just in the game in general. Lockett's big plays are over the top, and the line and Russ weren't matching with that anymore. Then they went and got DK, and that's another over the top guy. They tried Jimmy Graham. That really messed them up too.
Mm-hmm. Man, the only way I'm trading Russell Wilson is you giving me the farm. You got to give me everything. You got to give me everything for Russell Wilson. Other than that, I'm not letting him go at all. It's an easy fix. The Seahawks like you guys said, need to shore up that offensive line. Then it will not help to get another wide receiver. To help DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and then this team is back to mix everything. That'll be the best team in that division once again. But sorry, Jay, just had to throw that out there. But
you think so?
Yeah, I think they fixed the offensive line. They get another wide receiver over there. I think they're back to back. And then one thing they need to do is get pass rushers. They need a legit pass rusher. Once they do that,
the field darn near. Besides quarterback.
Yeah, hey, Russell Wilson talent can take over for a lot of stuff. That dude there. If they can protect him, that dude can make magic. So let's move to the next topic. We actually go to Jay on this one. Jay, your Cardinals, they had good flashes last year, but they did not step up to the team that we all thought they was going to be last year. Okay. So what adjustments in this free agency that you think that they need to do something they might need to add to the team where it can help you guys improve on this upcoming season?
The Arizona Cardinals have had 2 issues for going on, I think, 4 seasons. This season, that one issue is going to be very, very crucial for our going forward. Patrick Peterson is now a free agent. We have not done anything to help our cornerback position. And I won't say we haven't done anything, because we had. We went out and bought Brandon Williams, drafted Brandon Williams. We went out and got Byron Murphy in the draft last year. And Byron Murphy's, he's looking to be like he's going to show up and he's going to improve next year, but he's not a number 2, and he's definitely not a number 1. The last 2 number 2s we brought to be number 2s both had injuries, season-ending injuries this year and last year. Alfred, specifically. But I think cornerback is our biggest spot in free agency. We not only have to re-sign Patrick Peterson, but we have to re-sign Patrick Peterson for the right amount of money. And then we also need to go get another one. We need somebody else. But my second position, though, is wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Don't let people overlook the fact that we did go out and get DeAndre Hopkins, and our wide receiver core is not happening. Mm-hmm. Christian Kirk was injured majority of the year, so he had a down year, his second year than he did his first year. We had Aunt Isabella. Andy Isabella has not done anything. If people are calling for him, we need to mail him away. If they call and they offer anything above a 3rd round pick, a 3rd, a 2nd, anything, I'll take a 4th right now. And we need to get him away. So in the free agency, we're going that. In the draft, we're looking at tight end.
Okay, Ray, where do you think the Cardinals need to improve on this offseason?
The same thing with he just said. They do need a corner to help out. They need to re-sign Patrick Patterson. That's definitely, you can't let him walk from you. They can go in the draft, and then I've been seeing some names coming up in the draft for the corners. That's Paulson Adebo from Stanford Cardinals, Marco Wilson from the Florida Gators, and Paulson and Embry Thomas from Michigan. Those are the top 3 corners that they're looking at right now that can shore up the other side of Patrick Peterson. Now, for Marco Wilson from the Florida Gators, I've seen him play a couple times down here in Gatorland. He's a shutdown corner in college, but I don't know how that's going to translate up into pros. He needs a little bit more beef up, his little bit more toughness on that side. And then I also see him they're talking about going after Travis Etienne from Clemson, the running back, for that change of pace. That can help out Mary too, because Mary, when he scrambles, Etienne get open. Next thing you know, you dump him a ball. He's a breakaway guy, so he could break away them long, short passes and stuff like that. So I'm looking right now. I'm looking at them trying to pick up Marco Wilson out of the draft and Etienne out of the draft to help them shore up their team.
Man, yeah,
Perfect Friday.
That sounds good there.
You funny, yo, Chris.
All right, yeah, because I don't know what you over there doing. But to answer the question, as Jay being a Cardinals fan, I'm glad he has great insight on his team. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got DeAndre Hopkins. What else do you need?" It's shown right now with Aaron Rodgers. Everybody wants to talk about Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. What else? It's even worse over there with the Cardinals, especially with Fitz is not the same Fitz. And he's looking like the second best wide receiver over there. He's 15, 16. So for me, they need to add another wide receiver. And one thing I've been looking at, Jay, I don't know how you feel, but when you're a quarterback, to me, you need a good slot or a good tight end that really makes you truly successful. It makes it easier for you. So if I'm the Cardinals right now, I'm looking at Philadelphia. Ertz is gone. I would trade a 3rd or 4th round pick for Zach Ertz. I would make that happen. I would get you a tight end that a quarterback can trust. I would trade a fourth for Zach Ertz. On the defensive side, getting Chandler Jones back next year is going to help to secure the pass rush, but you can never, be too wrong at an interior guy. And also, like you said, at corner, you can't be a defense that has a questionable pass rush and a questionable, back end. And you saw that kind of what happened when y'all went against the Seahawks the first time. The back end was getting crushed. So you got to make sure you secure Pat Peterson. You got to make sure you secure the right group around him. And when you look at the core, okay, you say Kyler Murray's young, Hopkins is relatively young. You're trying to go young, you need to draft. But if you in win now mode, you also need to make moves in free agency and trade. So for me, the Cardinals at 8-8, they're in a tough spot because they don't have time to truly wait because they're good enough to win. So you got to add a lot of pieces in a lot of different, situations. So the GM has to be good in this spot because there's guys you can trade some picks for, but there's also some picks that you need to keep. But, I'm telling you, if you a fourth round pick for Zach Ertz is a steal for Kyler Murray. Is a steal because he's going to get you 800 plus yards. He's going to be the reliable target. During the season, his value is a second round pick, but right now you can get him at so cheap. For me, it's a no brainer. There's a couple teams I think that's looking to trade a fourth for Ertz.
I think you slick. You think you slick is going to start the Philadelphia Eagles. You ain't slick. You're not slick.
No,
Freddie, do you pay attention? These reports have been out since the season. Pay attention.
I'm just saying you're not slick for them to report it on here.
I mean.
We were trying to get him a little earlier in the season. See, and the only thing about that, I would be okay with the fourth, Chris. But see, Kime is really good 3 through 5. He has horrible first round picks, but he's really good 3 through 5. So on a standpoint of knowing my GM and knowing his draft picks, I'm scared to give up that second. However, we need a tight end. We drafted a fourth. We drafted a fifth rounder, and they haven't panned out. Dan Arnold started to break out last year, but if I could scrape up Ertz for a fourth rounder, I mean, bro, that's no brainer.
It's possible at this point. It's possible. Like his value, and throughout the season, especially in the beginning of the season, it was a second round pick. That was the talks. It was a second round pick, but now because after the season, the injuries. If you're able to get him for a fourth, if you're that's a steal for a guy that is going to give you in the right situation at least 700 to 800 yards with his eyes closed.
I tell you what, if we go into the draft and get our man Patrick Surtain to draft, and we draft Patrick Surtain, right there, we go ahead and pick up the phone and call and make that.
Yep, I would. I definitely would do something like that.
Because that's the one. If we can get Patrick Surtain, that'll sew up our first cornerback position for years. Let Patrick sit there and groom him. And he don't Patrick, but Peterson don't even Patrick Surtain don't even have to play the first one. He can play the second one at this time. Let Patrick hold that down. Teach him. Go get Ertz. Chandler come back. Sign Marcus Golden. We get Corey Peters back in the line. Oh man,
it's a solid team.
Brandon Murphy in the slot. Ooh, Byron Murphy. Ooh.
All righty, gentlemen. So they got some holes they need to fill over there to get back relevant, so they can be up there with the Seattle Seahawks. So let's move to the next topic. So we seen the Browns with Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, there was a lot of times where Baker Mayfield was trying to force him the ball. But we seen them without Odell, and we seen that this offense opened up and they went on a run. So should the Browns consider trading Odell Beckham Jr.? We'll start this one off with Chris.
I'm stuck right now because when you look at it, it was so obvious that Odell was the best wide receiver on his team. If you look at the stats, he played less than half the year and still, has better, he has more targets than a lot of receivers that played most of the year. Has more yards than a lot of receivers played most of the year. But for me, it all depends on what the Browns want to do with their system. I think Baker Mayfield has shown that he's not going to be a guy that's going to beat you throwing, 40 plus times. He's shown that he's a guy, Run the ball. Let's run the ball. Let's run the ball. Basically, the Ryan Tannehill system. Ryan Tannehill is a great quarterback, but when you put a quarterback in a great situation where you're saying, okay, we're going to run and you're not going to have to throw 40, 50 times. You're getting put in the best situation for you. I think that's what they're doing right now for Baker. And if that's the case, yes, I'm trading Odell. I'm liking what I'm getting out of Higgins. Landry is a beast. If you can find another guy to squeeze in there, as you have a decent wide receiver group, you have two good tight ends. So that's when you look at it. You have good tight ends, and you have, Higgins, you have Landry. That's a good, pass, catching group, and you got Hunt at the backfield. So if that's the case, I'm definitely looking to trade Odell. I'm looking to get, not necessarily draft picks. I mean, draft picks is good, but add on some guys for that defense. It never hurts to get some more pass rushing, even though they got a good pass rushing group. But I'm looking at the linebacker situation. I'm looking at the safety and the corner situation. If your offensive game plan is somewhat set, you need to add to the defense. The defensive line, you got Garrett, you got Vernon, you got some good guys. But what else is cooking for you in that defense? Okay, you got Ward. Okay, you got some guy, but can you get better by trading Odell? I think you can. So if that's the case for me, I'm trading Odell. I'm adding guys on that defense. If you're getting draft picks, I'm looking to draft guys on that defense. One of the best, if not the best offensive line this year. Great running game. Like I said, a lot of offensive personnel when it comes to tight ends and wide receivers and running backs. Add to that defense. And if you can trade Odell to do that, no brainer.
I absolutely agree. And I think, man, when you talk about a quarterback in Baker Mayfield, he's not ready to handle a wide receiver who can be called a diva, who can be called a distraction. He's not ready for that type of receiver. Odell needs to be with a veteran quarterback who's going to hold him accountable, who's going to be a leader, who's going to say, hey, I'm not going to just dictate to you. There's a team up there in the north, the where they get green and yellow, by the Green Bay Packers, who's a quarterback that can give Odell the ball and can make him happy. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. They need to do what they have to do to get their hands on Odell Beckham Jr.
I don't want to say veteran quarterback. I want to say a quarterback that abilities, is good enough to pass that many times and can make decisions on the fly, because I think a guy like Justin Herbert would do fine.
No.
I'm naming quarterbacks, not saying they traded for him, but I'm saying Justin Herbert has shown he has more arm talent than Baker Mayfield right now. Joe Burrow has shown that he has more arm talent than Baker Mayfield right now. I'm not saying
about arm talent, Chris.
Yes, it is. Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield doesn't have the arm talent
to get about arm talent with Odell.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
He needs to be somebody with a leader mindset, a leader mentality. He needs somebody who's going to hold
somebody that can get him the ball. He needs somebody. Baker can't get him the ball because he's not good enough.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Chris, there'll be many times where Odell wants the ball, but Baker try to force him the ball, and he forgets about others.
He's not good enough to give him the ball in those spots. Aaron Rodgers, you named him. Okay, he's a leader. He's good enough to get the ball in that spot. Jameis Winston would be fine with Odell because he knows how to throw the ball.
So when Odell get over there throwing his temper tantrums, is the young quarterback going to be able to control him?
Say it again. Getting overthrown. Why? Because Baker isn't that good of a quarterback.
That ain't the problem. A year ago, Chris, maybe. And you, maybe. But right now, that is not the problem with Odell Beckham. The problem, look, you started off right, Chris. He had 43 targets, 23 receptions, 3 touchdowns in his 7 games, okay? Now, if we look at the rest of this roster, we got Jarvis Landry, 72 receptions on 101 targets. He still only had 3 touchdowns. Okay, the problem with Odell Beckham is he knows that he's a money grabber. He knows that when he gets around that end zone that you need to throw the ball to him. The problem with Odell is that if you don't, he's a cancer.
Exactly.
That's the problem with Odell. It's 50-50, but it ain't got nothing to do with just pure arm strength. You're right. But it also has to do with that as well. It's that talent, because Odell will do that. He'll gap on you and not hit the burners until he hit until he's down the field 30 yards. Odell Beckham people don't understand that not only is he a class act with his hands, this dude is a track star. And you got to be able, because that's where Chris has a point here. You got to be able to outthrow his feet. You have to be able to outthrow his feet, because if he's slowing down, the corner behind him, they put the fastest corner on him. So if he's slowing down, the corner's catching up. And you got to also understand too that Jarvis Landry is also the identical same freaking player as Odell Beckham.
But y'all missing the point. What I'm saying, Jay, that's not what I'm saying.
I see you saying they need a leader quarterback, somebody that can control them.
Correct.
I feel you on that, but he also needs a quarterback that's good enough to give him the ball consistently.
Correct. Because look, if you go, I'll give you an example. Matthew Stafford is a good example. Matthew Stafford, he's a veteran quarterback. He can throw the ball
better than almost everybody in the league.
Kirk Cousins, a veteran quarterback, he can't throw the ball like that.
It's the truth.
Throw the ball like that. So you got the same veteran presence. One has the arm talent, one don't. Odell Beckham will be a cancer with Kirk Cousins. He don't want a 5-yard chuck him. He don't want a 7-yard slant. He wants the 30-yard hopper. He wants to dig it out. So that's where he's coming from with this, and I get where he's coming from because it's not about arm strength here in pure veteranness. It's the combination. Who he needs?
Who he need?
You should have jumped on this. He needs.
I said that,
but not because of veteran presence, because he got the combination of both. And Odell can't walk into that locker room and say, "I'm better than you, and you need to get me the ball for we can win this team." Oh, Aaron Rodgers would put him in a car seat and put him in an Uber and send his butt home.
All right, Randy. We haven't heard from you. You know they talk a lot, so we're gonna let you go.
All right.
What you rating that face for, Chris Brown?
I think they should trade Odell Beckham for two reasons why. Because in a few years it's going to be a salary cap hit. You know, they're going to be over the salary cap. But you get him now while he's on the market, you get him. But nobody has mentioned Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Bill Belichick recreated Moss. Moss was a cancer in everybody's locker room. Why can't he just go out and they trade for Odell Beckham? You know what that could bring for the Patriots? Go out and get a nice quarterback on the free agent. Say, hey, we got Odell Beckham you can throw it to. Hey, that might persuade Deshaun Watson to change his mind to go to Patriots. You know, you got to look at it. Belichick, you don't need a quarterback to control him. You got a head coach who can control him. Right there.
Yeah, right.
Then you got Deshaun Watson. They go out and get him. Hey, guess what? I could bring back that, Hopkins and Watson type with Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham can go down the field. Watson can give him the ball. Hey, you just got to look at it. Bill Belichick reincarnated Moss's game, made him go from a cancer in the locker room to a good open receiver without any hesitation, anything going into the locker room. You never heard anything about Randy Moss in that locker room in New England.
No, that's because Randy Moss was still winning no matter what was going on. Randy Moss was still winning. People just didn't like the way he talked to him in the locker room while he was winning.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Belichick though, who is a good. He can control. He can control him.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then he can use him as a bait to get a quarterback to come up there. You got to look at it this way. But if Cleveland holds on to him and he gets hurt again this year, his value is going to go down, and he's going to be a salary cap hit, and you're going to be probably setting your team back 2 to 3, maybe 4 years on that salary cap hit.
Yeah.
So I think they should trade him.
Fighting over there if they get Odell.
You never know who might come over there. You might say that Deshaun Watson might say, "Hey, forget y'all two. I'm going to go up there. If you trade me to Patriots, I'll waive my no trade clause right here and there if they get Odell Beckham."
All right. Well, we all believe that he should get traded, but we all kind of have our own different reasonings on that. So, time is moving fast, man. That's what happened to having fun. Let's go ahead and let's touch some of this NBA stuff real quick. Let's get some NBA hot takes. Chris Brown, we'll let you go first.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year is Miles Turner. And I'm tired of disrespect on his name. Like, Rudy Gobert got $200 million. Why? I mean, to grab 12 rebounds, get 11 points, get 2 blocks. I mean, like, and they overrate his defense. He's a good defender, but to me, he's not the best big man defender in the game. The best defensive center in the game, you got Bam. But who's coming up right behind him? You got Miles Turner, a guy 6'11" that is averaging over 3 blocks right now, leading the league, averaging over 3 blocks right now, averaging over a steal. This is a guy that's tall, that's athletic, but it also has the ability to switch on pick and rolls. He has the ability to guard a guard or a forward and not get exposed like Rudy Gobert. Every single time you see him on a guy that's 6'7" or under, it's a wrap. It's a bucket. You might as well get back on the offensive end. You know he's done. So for me, Miles Turner, I don't understand why he's getting enough talk around him. You know, he is dominating right now on the defensive end. His offensive game is inconsistent. When you talk about defensive player of the year, this dude has been consistent this entire year. Like I said, leading the league with 3.5 blocks per game. Okay, I don't think he's getting talked about enough. It's all about the names, but watch the games, turn on the film, and look at the stats. Miles Turner is having a dog year on the defensive end. And for me, right now, February 11th, he's the front runner. Now, in April, you know, things might go different. But for right now, February 11th, he needs to get talked about more. For me, he's the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and get my hot take out the way before somebody can say it, because I think Jay might say it. You know, I was waiting for Chris Brown to show up to say this. But, you know, Anthony Davis, you know, when you come back from this little Achilles injury, whatever you got going on, I need you to show the world who you are. Remind these folks that you Anthony freaking Davis. Show us what you was doing in the bubble, giving us 27, 10, and 3 assists and to the block or 2 a game. Show us why with the Western Lakers we got you in LA. Show us why you can be the best player in the game. Show us why you're Anthony freaking Davis.
What was that hot take, though? Like, what was the hot take right there?
It's not a hot take. It's a hot take to him. He's watching this show and watch when he come back. He gonna miss the Friday game, but he'll come and play Sunday going against the Joker, and you just watch. He gonna have an MVP type of game.
Yeah, hot take.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
An MVP type of game.
That was terrible.
Let's call Freddie's shout out.
Well, here's my hot take then. My hot take is Dallas does not make the playoffs. Okay? My hot take is Dallas does not make the playoffs because, see, there was only one team to me that was on the verge of not making the playoffs going into this season when I was breaking it down, and that was the Trailblazers.
Oh.
The Trailblazers were going to fiddle-faddle with Dallas.
You thought so?
And the Warriors down at the 6, 7, 8 spot, right? But with the Trailblazers blazing, because CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard is, you need some mitts to grab on them, man. And the Suns, they in the top 4,
as they should be.
Thank you, sir. But the only team that I thought really was gonna just, like I said, be right there and possibly fall out was the Trailblazers and possibly the Spurs. But the Spurs are playing so good as a team, and I don't see any there's no outstanding player necessarily on the Spurs. Yeah, they got DeRozan, they got some star power, but there's no, when you're watching the team, there's no outstanding player. So I don't see them falling. I think they'll be able to keep that. So I really do not see Dallas, even with Porzingis coming back and balling, even with Luka doing his thing, doing the triple-double. He's having a very Russell Westbrook type of year.
Talk about it.
Then can we say that the Philadelphia 76ers fooled them by giving them Josh Richardson for Seth Curry?
Yeah, that was the easy trade. I mean, that was simple. I mean, I don't know why they did. I mean, yes, he's defensive, but what did you think he was going to be? He showed in Philadelphia that he's not a guy that can be a secondary ball handler. And I think that's what they thought they were getting. He's not a secondary ball handler. You gave us Seth Curry, who he's that dude right now for us, dominating. So thank you, Mavericks. You know, I mean, if they had a secondary ball handler in that lineup, I don't think the talk around him would be so bad. But he's getting put in a wrong position. Like, he's KCP. KCP's not used to be a secondary ball handler. He has one job: to defend to shoot threes, and he can take it off the dribble, but you're not telling him to play make. And that's what I feel like Josh Richardson for the past 2 years has been used wrong. With Miami, he showed his role. Right now, he's being used terrible.
They got a really weird team.
It's a terrible lineup. It's Luka, because the only guy that can do anything with the ball in his hands was the starting lineup. You got Finley Smith, who's a 3-and-D guy. You got Kleber. Huh?
But Finley Smith is weird. Is a weird style for them too to have.
That's what I'm saying. Is Luka 3-and-D, 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 Kristaps Porzingis. Off the bench, you got Tim Hardaway Jr., who is really a great six-man. He should not be your secondary guy to score. He's too inconsistent. You got Brunson. You got Willie Cauley-Stein. You got Burt. I mean, you got a lot
of identity.
They don't have a good roster. They don't have a good roster right now.
Yeah.
Let's spade to spade. They don't have a good roster right now.
All right. Well, maybe the Nets and the Mavericks might need to make some trades because the Nets need some 3-and-D guys, and the Dallas needs some offensive guys.
They're gonna be traded with Dallas. Stay away from them.
I'm just saying, the Nets.
What they going to trade, Freddie?
The Nets need
get from that team.
Joe Harris.
Why would you?
What?
Why would you trade?
Why?
Ray, please give us your hot take.
Why?
That was
Did you say why?
Yeah. No.
Oh, Chris, that's not even should be a question you should ask. Why?
So you're trading him for Richardson?
For 3-and-D guys, for a couple of 3-and-D guys. You know why? Because that team need defense. They don't need Joe Harris.
You're crazy.
They don't need him at all. They got 3 guys that can score at any given moment on the court. It's not my turn, it's your turn.
We'll make this a topic next week if they should trade Joe Harris. Let's talk to
All right, my NBA hot take is the Charlotte Hornets. Right now, they're the 7th seed. They were predicted to be the 13th or 14th place in the Eastern Conference. And LaMelo Ball, the way his physical stature, when I looked at him before he came into the NBA, I didn't think he was going to be this good. But right now, he's surprised. He's even surprising me the way he has played. And when he's in the lineup, the Hornets are good. When he's out of the lineup, the Hornets are garbage. But right now, my hot take right now is the Charlotte Hornets, who is right. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference.
I love it.
All right. I think they're all great hot takes. Let's move on to the next topic, gentlemen. Chris Brown, don't shake your head. People don't understand you shaking your head.
It wasn't all good hot takes. You didn't give a hot take. You said You said Anthony Davis will come back and play. Well, what's the hot take there?
For one, you can't say it like me. Your voice is not as good.
I don't want to be like you.
Number 2, it was a shout out to him because he's watching the show.
But it was called NBA hot takes, not NBA shout outs.
I'm moderating this, so let me get to the next topic, please. The next topic of the night is the Utah Jazz the best team in the West? I mean, hey, they on the roll. I mean, hey, everybody thought the Lakers and the Clippers be number 1, even though they're only 1 game above the Lakers, but still they're number 1. You got to give respect where respect is due. We'll go with Ray on this one. Ray, is the Utah Jazz the best team in the West?
The first half of the season, they looked like the best team. But I don't know how they're going to do continue on past the All-Star break and stuff like that. But, as the Lakers get back Anthony Davis and Los Angeles get back and gets George, and Leonard back up and playing their top things, I think the Utah Jazz could be moving down from the first all the way down to probably like the 3rd or 4th team in the Western Conference. But right now, they're the best team in the first half of the season, but we don't know how they can continue on with the role they're on. I think they peaked too early because most teams will start peaking right after the All-Star break. I see Coach Quinn Snyder has done a good job of getting his team ready. He has them ready to play every game. You're not going to go in there and try to blow them out. They're going to fight you from tooth and nail. That's the kind of team they got. But do they have a team that it can stack up with the Lakers and the Clippers and all the teams gunning for them? This is a young team. This is the first time they're winning like this. Can they withstand the pressure coming from the Lakers and the Clippers and all the rest of the teams that are behind them coming to gain them up in the second half of the season?
Listen, the Utah Jazz have to have a lot of respect. They have like 5 or 6 guys averaging double digits a game. Quinn Snyder's doing a hell of a job. Jordan Clarkson's probably going to go for the sixth man of the year. This team is rolling. Donovan Mitchell is showing us why he's that star, been that star for the last couple of years. And but they're not the best team in the West. And bro, I like that how you was about to call Paul George junk. I love it. I love a little shade. I heard it. It's coming. But I don't think the Clippers are the number 2 best team in the West. I think Utah's better than the Clippers right now, for one reason. They have to play defense and they can score just about anybody. I cannot see the Clippers beating the Utah Jazz in the playoffs. I just can't. Because I believe in the playoffs, Paul George will come something shorter than he is that he's shown in the regular season. We've seen the same Paul George in the regular season. We've seen him ball out, looking like he's good and all that good stuff. But guess what? When it comes to the playoffs, he always come up short. So I cannot put the Clippers at a top 2 team in the West. I can't. I'm sorry. And I won't do it until I see Paul George show me in the playoffs that he can still be that dude still a pandemic P, okay? I'm sorry. The Lakers is the best team in the West. Wow, because you have the MVP of the league who really should be the MVP of the league this year by the name of LeBron James at 36 years old, in year 18. This dude, can we give props? We give props, because at the beginning of the season, I'm pretty sure everybody thought that this man was going to take nights off, or he was going to rest. But he did not take it. He has not taken a night off. He has played every game so far in year 18. And in my eyes, he's the only player in the NBA to say, you know what, I want to take tonight off. I want to rest. I give it to him. Because this dude has been, even before he came to the Lakers, like 9 straight finals. That's a lot on his body. And so the dude got better at the 3-point line. LeBron didn't shoot the 3-point bar a little bit better. It's like that. It's going from 40% to 39% because he hasn't shot as good the last couple games, but still he's around 39 and 40%. And then, you look at the team, you have 5 or 6 guys, even with AD out, they can still give you buckets. You have Dennis Schroeder, you have Montrezl Harrell, you have Kuzma. Kuzma, by the way, who stepped up in his game and became a basketball player. He's getting that double-double, and THT coming off the bench. And Marc Gasol's finally finding his role on his team. He's finally becoming that defensive anchor that this team needs. He's becoming more of a person that helps set up the offense. Frank Vogel already said that we don't need him to be the main focus on the offensive side. So he's not going to go out there and give us 20 points a night. We just want him to come in and do his role and do what he has to do. So I have the Lakers number 1. I have the Jazz number 2, and as of right now, I have the Clippers number 3. But depending on Phoenix and how hot they get, they could take that number 3 away from the Clippers. Chris, is the Utah Jazz the best team in the West?
I just want to let people know what Utah is doing right now is not a mistake. In the bubble, they fell short because Bogdanovich was hurt. He was a guy that season that was averaging 20 points. The question with them was, they traded for Clarkson, but Mike Conley wasn't able to, establish a rhythm last year. Right now, you're seeing Mike Conley establish a rhythm. Right now, you're seeing the Mike Conley that was playing how he was with Memphis. That's a big reason why this team is playing good because, Donovan Mitchell finally has a guard beside him that can, play defense, control the offense, and also look to score. You have a healthy Bogdanovich who's still getting his feet under him. You have Jordan Clarkson off the bench, who's your scoring off the bench. So what the Jazz doing right now is not my mistake. But they're not the best team in the West. It's still the Los Angeles Lakers, and a couple of reasons why. One, this team, they're still throwing around different fourth quarter lineups and still have over 20 wins. You have Anthony Davis, who is not playing, to the Anthony Davis type caliber that he needs to be. And, he's battling injuries right now, and they're still, half a game back from the number 1 seed. They got a lot of different, things going on with that team, and yet they're still half a game back from the number 1 seed. When I look at the Lakers, I think overall they have a better roster than the Jazz. The Jazz have a good roster, not great. They just got good players that can, make that team afloat. When I look at the Lakers roster, not only do they have a good team, but they have a good, the good coaching staff, but they have a good roster. And then, Frank Vogel said last year that, Alex Caruso is the secret weapon. This year is going to be Taylor Horton Tucker. He's a guy that can, play the 1, 2, 3, that can look to score. He has length so he can defend. This team is a very good roster that still hasn't, put together any solid unit yet, and they're still half a game back. So for me, the best team is the Lakers. Jazz are a close second, though. Very close.
Ooh, I love to hear that. I tell you, it's that Tampa air, my friend. It's that Tampa air that got to you.
What are you talking about, Freddie?
It's that Tampa air. Come on, join the party. You want to leave Philadelphia.
I will never leave Philadelphia to join the Lakers. Are you kidding me? I just say the truth. I always say the truth.
Chris, I'll make you a deal on live air. If you come to a Lakers fan, I will not challenge you one time on the show ever again.
Freddie, from the day I came out the womb, I was a Sixers fan. I sat through just the process. You know how many teams was doing their thing then? I could have been to Miami with LeBron. I could have joined him in South Beach. I stayed in Philadelphia. So you think I'm about to leave? I'm never going to leave Philadelphia. We're the number one seed in the East right now. Stop it, boy. I'm never leaving. I know where my home is at.
You had a great opportunity, but now I got to come into you every week now. Every week.
One ear, not the other. You don't affect me.
Okay. All right. I have you running. All right, Jay. Is the Jazz the best team in the West?
Not at all. This season is actually the Jazz are benefiting a lot from this schedule. This schedule is tweaked around a little bit, and they're benefiting a lot from it. Let's take a look at their last 12 games. Okay, the last 12 games, we had the most recent. We'll start from the most recent back. We had the Celtics. They beat the Celtics. That was a good win, and they beat the Pacers. 2 Eastern Conference 4 and 5 positions. Those were 2 solid wins. Then they turn around and beat the Hornets. And the Hornets are 9th. Then they got the Hawks. Okay, now the Hawks, they're hanging in there at the 8th seed. After this, they start. It goes nowhere. You got the Pistons. They played the Nuggets. They lost to the Nuggets. They played the Mavericks twice. The Knicks. They had the Warriors before they got on their hot streak. They had 2 games against the Pelicans, and then the Hawks again. Like Cavs, Pistons, Knicks. So they didn't. They in the Nets, even the game they played against the Nets. This was before everything came back around. So they've really benefited from this NBA schedule, and that's what I think that everyone's seeing. They haven't played the likes of the Los Angeles Lakers. They haven't played, Phoenix. And when they did, they only played 1 game against Phoenix, and Phoenix beat them. Okay, so they did beat the Clippers in the beginning of the year, but that's right there when Paul George was in his woes and everybody was talking about is Paul done and all that good stuff. So again, I really see the Jazz, if this is a real year, and the schedule going at this point, I'd see the Jazz as a 6th seed, period. 5th seed tops.
Well, gentlemen, I'm not going to fire back off of you because it's time to run down. They're ahead of the Clippers. They're ahead of the Clippers. Paul George.
Clipper bashing, man. You are very predictable when we start talking about the NBA. You're gonna love the Lakers, and you're gonna bash the Clippers. I don't know how we got back to the Clippers.
It's just
Utah.
That's why though.
But the question was: is Utah the number 1 seed, the best team in the West?
Number 2.
Okay. So you say the Lakers are the number 1?
We don't. It should be the 1 and 2. We don't need to hear about 3.
Let's hold on it now. Y'all gonna be out here just trying to double team me. Ray, you supposed to team up with me now. Don't be double team him.
And Ray, like me and Jay, are all about the truth.
Yeah,
unbiased.
This is what I look at right here. If you're talking about the Jazz schedule, February 24th they play the Lakers. That's gonna be a test.
Mm-hmm.
February 19th they play the Clippers. That's gonna be a test.
Mm-hmm.
February 15th when they played the 76ers, that's going to be a definitely a test because of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to tell me that Utah right there could probably lose all those games right there and knock them out of the first place position.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Utah can finish in the maybe the third or fourth position of the West.
Mhm.
Right now, we don't know how they're going to finish up because usually after All-Star break, they start falling apart. It happens every year with the Utah Jazz, except for the time they played the Lakers when they had Karl Malone and John Stockton. This is not that Utah Jazz. These are young Utah Jazz. They haven't got no experience in first place and winning. When they got pressure teams like the Clippers, the Lakers, and Suns and all them coming back up in there. So you don't know how they're going to play after the All-Star break. Right now, they're the best first half team.
Let me add to that because they played with the Clippers once. They did beat them, but again, that was during the Paul George down thing.
Yeah,
and then after that, you got they split with Denver. Okay, so once they split with Denver, now you got the Lakers. They haven't played them yet. They got 2 games against the Clippers coming up, and then they got he already said the Sixers. Dude,
they got 2 games with the Sixers. They got the February 15th, then they turn around and play on March 3rd.
Yeah, and they got the Bucks. The Bucks is tomorrow night.
So they got a tough schedule.
Yeah,
I just gotta ask one question.
Season out, it could be bad for them, bro.
I just gotta ask Ray one question. Ray, you said that's a test. Who's that a test to? The Jazz?
Yeah, Jazz.
Oh, okay.
Are you not paying attention? Everybody knew who he's talking about, but you. Like, are you not paying attention?
Chris, since when did your name become Ray?
But I'm saying, like, everybody knew he was talking about.
I started the statement off just as a test.
He just wanted to make sure you weren't talking about his beloved Lakers. That's all. He just wanted reassurance from him so he could feel good inside. You weren't talking about the Lakers. It's
When
the truth.
your name became Ray Brown?
It's the truth.
Man, let's get to the last topic of the night, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry what's about to happen here, but it's about to happen. Who is more important to the 76ers? Is it Joel Embiid, who's having an MVP type season this year? Or is it Ben Simmons, who's your point guard? Chris Brown.
Okay, so let me explain this to y'all. The best player on this team by far is Joel Embiid. Should be up there for MVP voting. Number 1 seed in the East. He's dominating career numbers and points, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, 3-point percentage, everything. You don't do nothing without Joel Embiid. But it's shown Joel Embiid's the bus, but Ben's the wheels. Just as important as Joel Embiid, it showed in the playoffs. We can't win without Ben Simmons. You got to have both. So if you're asking between the two, who is more important? Okay, it's Embiid, but it's kind of like I'm not trying to say these players are similar in either way, but it's just the dynamic. You look at the Lakers. LeBron James is by far the best and most important player on the team. They're not going anywhere, though, without Anthony Davis. They're going to get to the playoffs. LeBron going to do his thing, but they're not getting over the hump without AD. And so with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, I'm telling y'all now, is the most important and best player on this team. But if you try to say, can one win without the other, it just can't happen. And the duo, Joel Embiid, is probably more important. But if Ben Simmons doesn't play, it's showing this year. When one doesn't play, the other going to put up numbers, but they're not going to thrive. So Embiid is the most important out of the duo, but Embiid is not going to win without Simmons because what Simmons brings on the defensive end, what he brings on the playmaking end, his presence on the floor is shows. And I don't even want to bore y'all with stats. I would just say watch the games when each of them don't play. It's bad. So for me, Embiid's more important, but Embiid's not winning without Ben, and Ben can't win without Embiid.
All right, Jay, who's more important to that team?
Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is more important to the NBA than Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons has a higher ceiling than Joel Embiid, because if Ben Simmons develops a jump shot, seriously, it's a wrap. He got clamps. He protects the rim. He rebounds the basketball. Great eye as far as instincts with passing. And there's a big difference on that too, guys. Passing the ball and getting assists and having instinctive passing is totally different. And that's why I don't understand people would get in arguments about Chris Paul. He's so instinctively
and they get people open.
Yeah, like
Ben Simmons gets people open.
Genius, man. With his passing, he'll pass the ball between two people's legs to somebody that wasn't there. And they didn't know he was going to get the ball. It just lands in their laps. So on this particular question, though, it's Joel Embiid, man. You got a big man in a day and age that big men are non-existent. Yeah, there's Porzingis. Yeah, there's all these guys, but they're not big men anymore. They're tall guys. They're guards and tall guys' bodies. Okay, and Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns and Miles Turner, these guys, Jokic, these guys are trying to hold on to this position. And I think that Joel Embiid is one of the best in the position at it, and has out of the ones I've named probably the highest ceiling. And if we need to, I mean, not we, but if they need to, you cut the ties on Ben right away, and you keep Joel.
All right.
I just want to say one thing. They both dominate. This is a good game right now with Portland. Joel got 17. Ben got 15. It's a good game right now.
Well, I'm going to stay in the position. Joel Embiid is important, but also Ben Simmons. And I'm going to take it straight out from General Embiid's mouth the other day on the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
When they have Ben Simmons, they're an average team. He said it point blank. He says, I got to have him on the floor to make this team better. And that's where the thing is. Joel Embiid is the Batman, but Ben Simmons is the Robin.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have those two coordinated on that 76ers team. It makes him a better team because Ben Simmons is a good defensive player. He's a good offensive player. He can get people open. And when you see Joel Embiid get wide open, it ain't because he's just moving around by himself. Ben Simmons created that on his mismatch. These two guys can throw a mismatch out there anyway. Who big man's gonna come out there and guard Joel Embiid on the 3-point line? Who's gonna be the power forward gonna come out there and guard besides LeBron to guard Ben Simmons out there and get taking off? Even though he don't have a good jump shot or good 3-point range, he still gets by people because people still bites on his pump fake. So just like that, this is an average team. If you take one away, both of them, this is a good team. So right now, I think both of them are more important for the 76ers.
But now, Ray, let me ask you a question on that though, because I understand what you're saying there, and I understand that what Chris Brown was saying as well. To the pair, the duo, yes, you need them, but you can replace. So my question is, who can you replace, or can you replace Ben Simmons and get production still and be better? And can you do that with Joel Embiid?
Hold on. You talking about replacing Ben Simmons? You can't replace Ben Simmons.
You can't replace a 6'10" guard and guard 1 through 5.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because Ben Simmons does more for the team. He's a defensive. He can score and he can pass the ball. So he's three guys into one person. Joel Embiid is 2 in 1.
So you don't take a Damian Lillard?
No, listen.
No.
Let me, Ray. I got to answer this just real quick. Ben Simmons is 6'10".
Yes,
that can guard 1 through 5.
Correct.
Dame is a great offensive player, but you're missing your defensive leader. Right now, Ben is top 5 in steals. He leads the league in deflection, especially in the fourth quarter. His defensive presence to this team is unmatched. Like, you can add Dame, but Dame's liability on defense. And now you got Dame, who's not a good defender. Seth Curry, not a good defender. Danny Green, not the best defender anymore. Tobias Harris, not a good. So you're losing your defensive identity. So I mean, you can't just plug and play anybody. Like, okay, the scoring, when the Simmons is not always consistent, but he steps up when it's time to step up. Like right now, I think I 15.5. He's looking like the best player right now for the Sixers. His inconsistency is the problem, but you can't just easily replace Ben Simmons like you can't easily replace Joel Embiid. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, go ahead, Dame," because we're gonna look like the Nets right now. A whole bunch of offense, no defense.
It's crazy to say. Me and Chris Brown, we agree on this again too. Like, man, you can't go back to Tampa, sir. I'm just saying.
I talk first. You're talking after me.
It don't matter.
You're agreeing with me. You should have talked first.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, Monday you'll moderate and I'll talk first, and you talk.
You can moderate and still talk first, Freddie. That's no excuse.
Sure, you taking my.
You should have talked first.
So Freddie, you're saying the same thing.
Muting
Basically. So let me ask you this, Freddie. Since you're saying you're going, okay, is he talking?
Who knows? Who knows what he's doing?
Oh, he must be on mute. So let me ask you this. So since you're going to pretty much go around on the same path, I'm going to ask you a question then. So they both said, you can't really replace Ben. So then who can you replace Joe Embiid with?
You can't replace none of them. Like, they're not easily replaceable.
Okay.
But
So
you have to have a leader.
Guy?
You have to have a leader. Ben Simmons is that leader. He's the one that's going to attack the paint, get shooters open. He's going to be the one to give them the ball. And when time comes to shove, he's going to put Joel Embiid in position in the post, give him the ball, and help him make it easy for him.
So then it's Tobias is the weak link.
There's no weak link. Tobias is having his best year. Tobias is having his best year this year with Doc Rivers. There's no weak link. They're all elevating their game.
Okay. So
we're the first seed in East.
So Chris, no. Listen. Let's get something straight here. Okay. We had Toronto win first in the East for like 6 straight years.
Yeah.
And
but when you look at Toronto, just like you look at the old Hawks, did you actually think they'll be good? Like, did you see any dogs on their team?
Yeah,
did you see any
DeRozan was dogging.
DeRozan.
That's false, Jay. What are you talking about?
Top 5, but there was a top 10 guys in the league. Now, don't get me wrong. DeRozan was beasting. Lowry was beasting. But Embiid is on another. Embiid, we're not talking about all-stars with Embiid. We're talking about the best center in the game, MVP.
Okay, so that puts you guys in more of a position of stuck quicksand because you got a guy that's top 10 in the league, and you're getting first in the East repeatedly. You're
this the first time. This the first time Doc Rivers puts us over. We were trash with Brett Brown.
So you think
I don't even think I know. Like, we were trash with our previous head coach. He didn't get the best out of our players. Tobias Harris' numbers went down when he got traded to the Sixers. Everybody's numbers went down and stagnated when he was there. You bring in Doc Rivers, he's putting everybody in the best position for them to succeed. Embiid is almost averaging 30. You got guys on the bench doing their thing. Tobias Harris is averaging more points on better efficiency.
Seth Curry, you guys are suited now to beat LA.
I know that's not the finals, but I'm saying we went against them the first time, and we did. I thought personally it was going to look bad. It was this type of game with LA. It was this, and an experience from LA led them to have a 16-point, thing in the fourth quarter. But if we had more experience on our team, which I think is the only question, the game it would have been won by at least 7 or higher. I'm not saying we're going.
Curry's really the key to this.
Jay, you slick, don't you?
And also, let me say one thing with Ben Simmons. I just want to throw a couple stats out there why he's so important. When Ben Simmons is on the court, we're shooting 40+% better at the 3-point range. Without him, we're shooting under 30. With Ben Simmons, our offensive rating and defensive rating is always up. Everybody wants to talk about the jump shot. For me, if he's aggressive in the paint, if he's aggressive driving to the basket, we're going to be a better team. Right now, we had a terrible first quarter against the Trailblazers, but a great second quarter. Ben Simmons has 15 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal and a block. Embiid has 23. This is the first time we're seeing this duo actually on the court together, playing together. With Brett Brown, they played less than 24 minutes together. Now they're dominating on the court together. To me, there's no one without the other. It's like LeBron and AD. One without the other, okay, they're going to be okay, but you put them together and you let them work, it's hard to stop that. But Embiid's the best player, but you're not going to get a championship caliber Sixers without Ben.
What were you asking me, Freddie?
And Jay, you think you slick what you trying to do, but I'm not getting bait into that. Talking about they're trying to beat the Sixers.
The Lakers are the team to beat. That's when you talk about teams. You talk about are they good enough to beat the Lakers?
You might get bait, but I'm not getting into that. That's all I'm saying.
No,
getting bait in the way. You always ask about the he wants to have it. That's the thing. He wants to have this conversation. That's why he's saying it. Whoever is the team that last win the championship, that's who you ask, are they good enough to beat? When the starting NFL season starts up, everybody's going to say, are they good enough to beat the Bucks? Just like this year, we said, are they good enough to beat the Chiefs? It was the same thing last year. It always happens with previous champs. He just wants to have this debate. That's all.
I'll give you this. Freddie ain't used to this, you know what I'm saying? Because Freddie, you a LeBron fan, right?
No. I'm a Lakers fan.
I wanted to make sure you kept it straight. But you ain't used to this because LA wasn't doing this before LeBron came. So he just trying to.
Yeah, man.
LeBron saved them for another 5 years.
Here you go with that crap again.
It's the truth.
Chris, let's say that for another topic for another day. That is not the truth.
You guys had a stiff back Howard, a stiff back Nash, and that was like y'all team. Come on.
You had Luke Walton as the coach, bro.
Yeah,
he was going to stay the coach if LeBron didn't come start things up.
LeBron didn't save the Lakers. You're absolutely wrong with that.
You guys are about to go get Mr. Stilicek from San Antonio.
Exactly.
You guys are about to get LaMarcus Aldridge.
Listen. Magic Johnson saved the Lakers. That's all I'm saying.
Who is the player playing on the court? Who's
got the players over there, Chris?
Hey,
who's on the court?
Chris.
I mean, we seen teams sign players and they don't pan out.
Chris,
who got LeBron to LA?
Snap that little piece right there when he said LeBron is not the reason for LA's success.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that.
Archive it a week or two.
No, I did not say that.
Archive it a week or two. Please.
He's running backwards right now, Jay. He's running backwards.
I did not say that. What I'm saying is Magic Johnson got LeBron to LA. Okay. He wasn't coming to the Lakers.
Okay, but shout out to Magic Johnson. But we've seen teams make big moves for players and then not pan out. So, and we've seen big name guys trade and make big moves to get big name guys.
I'll tell you something else.
So what happened when y'all brought a super team together? What did y'all win?
We win championships. That's what we do, Chris.
When y'all had Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, what y'all win, Freddie?
No. You ain't better to do that. They was
already.
I just said super team y'all traded, but what y'all win?
There was not no super team. Hell no.
The best center in the game.
Hey,
he had bad problems.
Listen. All I gotta say is this. Because you can say what you want about LA bringing in players and all this nonsense, but LeBron does LeBron. LA didn't do that. That wasn't Magic. That was LeBron.
The
last time LeBron went to a free agency team,
he saves every team he goes to.
Introductory show.
He saves every team he goes. He went to the Cavs. He brought them back to relevancy.
Wants to go.
He went to the Heat. He saved them because D Wade and them was the AC first round exit until he got back there. He went back to the Cavs when they were first pick, fourth pick.
That's the Cavs and them Heat.
Then he brought them to the Lakers, who was on just losing as soon as Kobe tore his Achilles. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. There was nothing good going for that franchise.
Chris,
every franchise he went to, did Magic bring him to Miami? Did Magic bring him back?
That's Miami and that's Cleveland. It's known every time the Lakers get a superstar, they tend to get number two. I only hear them about Steve Nash and the Dwight Howard.
You know what happens? Every single team LeBron went to, he saved them.
Steve Nash was old at the time, by the way.
Every team LeBron's went to, he saved them. They are similar.
The Lakers are going to be good anyway, Chris.
If I'm not wrong,
the Lakers were going to win a championship last year.
LeBron two years in a row.
Oh, they were number one, number four. I mean, they stayed in the top five after LeBron left. Miami, they was first round exits.
I guarantee when LeBron leaves the Lakers will still be relevant.
Y'all wasn't getting AD there without LeBron stamped.
Yep.
Magic Johnson didn't do that.
Magic started the train. He got LeBron here.
It takes the player to actually want to play LA.
Listen.
You're gonna let me talk, damn it. When I cannot listen. Magic Johnson. Listen, no, I'm talking. Magic Johnson got LeBron to the Lakers, okay? So that's piece number one. So we still have the young talent. We still could have traded the young talent to get another star. So if it was not AD, it would have been Paul George. It would have been somebody. You best believe this is known for Laker history. I know you might be used to this in Phoenix and Philadelphia, but this is how it's known to be done in Los Angeles. Not the Clippers, but the Lakers. When we had that one star, we know to get two. We was going to be back and relevant no matter what if LeBron would have got there or not. Might not have happened as quick as it did, but it would have happened back. It would happen again soon.
Like I said.
And let's not forget, Kawhi Leonard wanted to come to the Lakers, but he did not want to come behind LeBron James' coattail.
Like me and Jay said, it wouldn't have happened. You basically said what we said, but want to yell about Magic Johnson. If LeBron signed, it made the process quicker. If LeBron didn't sign, the process would have been long. It takes a certain type of player to carry a franchise. I'm sorry, AD showed he couldn't do that. Kawhi Leonard can do it. LeBron James can do it. James Harden can do it.
Can't do it.
Kawhi went to the Raptors and won a championship in the first year.
It's not the easiest championship of NBA history, Chris. The Golden State Warriors team did not get hurt. Golden State would have swept them.
Did you say
was that not a travel against your 76ers? Was that not a travel against your 76ers, Chris? Yes or no?
Whoa, time out.
Yes or no, Chris?
Wait, Chris, you can't even answer that yet. Time the heck out.
PTSD.
Look, did you just say he had the easiest championship?
Yes, easiest championship.
This man went and dogged the whole playoffs by himself.
Yep.
He played against the Golden State Warriors team and they played Thompson and Kevin Durant, Jay.
Hey, listen, himself. Listen, he was in San Antonio, bro. He was willing San Antonio. That year that he won instead of the year that he won, he was willing them. He was with Kawhi Leonard, bro. Let's not talk. When you be over here Clipper bashing, you say Paul George a lot. You say a little bit here and there about Kawhi Leonard because you know darn well you can't talk about Kawhi like that.
No, he's a great player, but he's not a leader. And I'm not going to give him the keys to my franchise and say, take me to
he won a championship. He took them. Okay, you saying, okay, they beat a hurt. You said they beating a hurt Golden State. Okay, but look at the teams he beat to get there. Okay, first round, boom, swept them. Second round against the Sixers, a great Sixers.
Was it a travel or was it not a travel, Chris?
It wasn't a travel. It wasn't a travel.
Please, if you know it was a travel.
It wasn't a travel. Then you go and you shut down Giannis, who everybody was the MVP, this, that, and the third. He put the clamps on Giannis. His path to get to the finals was legit.
It was not legit, Chris. It was a lucky bounce and it was a travel. Then he would go against the Golden State Warriors team. If they was healthy, they would have swept them.
Hey, if
he wasn't ready for Kevin Durant.
If Kawhi doesn't play the way he plays last year, Giannis is a superstar and an NBA champion. Period.
Yeah.
Because he would have went through the same thing.
What are you talking about?
Like, dude, don't you wish LeBron would? We don't wish injury, but don't you wish that would have happened to him? That Golden State all of a sudden just fell off the map, got hurt. Everybody got hurt.
No. Listen, bro.
I mean, that's easy.
Giannis and Kawhi Leonard were they were the best players in the NBA at the time. Period. The two best players. Really, that's all that happened.
So you fell for the hype. You fell for the hype.
What hype?
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard was legit.
No, it was not legit.
Yeah, he was legit.
All right, we gotta wrap this up. I can't be here no more. You just said Kawhi Leonard's not legit. You the only person.
No, I did not say he's not legit. What I'm saying is he's a great player. He's a great player, okay? He's a great player. I would like him on my team. But he cannot be the leader of my team. He's not a leader.
So who is the leader of the NBA championship Toronto Raptors? Who was the leader?
Kyle Lowry.
Even the year the San Antonio Spurs won, that one that Kawhi.
No, you didn't. No, no, sir. When he's with the Spurs, he still had great players around him. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, LaMarcus. No, you're not about to do that. No.
He single-handedly willed them in that series. He single-handedly willed them in that series, and he was hurt.
Jay, y'all hyping this dude up way too much. This dude have not went on a run like LeBron James have went on a run in the finals. He haven't, and in the playoffs. He's a great player, but he's not a leader.
Hold on.
He's right there with Anthony Davis.
Hold on. So you're comparing somebody has to do what LeBron did to be that successful? I'm saying that. So that's what you said. No. You just said he hasn't done what LeBron did. That's what you just said.
What I'm referring to.
No.
You said that Kawhi and LeBron can carry a franchise on their back. And
no one said LeBron nothing.
Y'all didn't say that.
No one said anything about LeBron.
He said Kawhi can. LeBron can.
No, You have interpreted.
Chris, did you not say
Show's
that?
over. I'm taking my headphones off. This conversation is stupid because somebody is just a hard-headed guy.
Do I need to rewind the tape?
Wrap it up.
I'll rewind the tape. I'll send it to the group chat. You best believe
Hey,
that.
we accept apologies in the group chat.
Yeah, you best believe that. But you better be glad. The time has slipped on us. We normally go an hour and a half. This year went 2 hours. But hey, it was a wonderful show. Chris, I thought you was gonna run from me. I really did thought you was gonna run.
You run. You the runner. I don't run from nothing. You the one that's 0-2 a debate, and the two people that beat you sitting right here. You the loser.
So
Hey, Freddie, I'm right here, buddy. This is why we here. This is why I had to come to the show because
You go down
I
to the
couldn't let
bottom.
you leave. You know what I mean? I can't wait another debate. We can't wait for another debate for me to get at you, man.
You talking about running? How somebody gonna run when you the loser of the group?
I'm just glad that you finally came back on the show. I
I
told
was
Ray.
in Tampa.
I
Everybody
know.
knew where I was at.
I know. I told Ray. I said, Ray, I wonder if Christian Brown gonna come back this week. I know I'm a big dog over here. I still want to.
First of all, Ray, don't listen to the hype. Jay know what it is over here from real. Everybody in real talk, all the fans, they know what it is. He may hype it up, but I'm telling you one thing. Freddie runs from me. Freddie will never beat me in any type of debate. He's 0-2 in the real debates we have. Freddie, everything you say go in one ear out the other. I don't pay you no mind. So for everybody in the real talk, we just want to say thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the supporters, all the fans, that rocked out with the show. We will be back next week with the heat. I'm wrapping it up because I'm not trying to hear Freddie talk no more. Again, thank you for all the supporters. Thank you for all the fans. And until next week.
Monday.
See you Monday. Peace.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays, network. All sports, all plays, network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.